Hello friends, welcome to B.Sc.Agriculture. If you are coming to my channel for the first time, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Your subscription and likes are always motivating us. If you have any doubt, please comment in the sections, or else you can able to join us in the Instagram, and don't forget to subscribe. So let's move to the video. In this video we are going to see about fundamentals of entomology. I am going to cover the sense organs in insects. So while seeing a small intro about the sense organs, so it is said to be the insect species environment as well as the governing the activities accordingly to the environment. So the sense organs, which are said to be known as the sensilla, which are associated with the sensory perception of the insects, and each and every cell or a group of cells which used to form an epidermis and used to act as a receptor in the insect organ is said to be known as sensillum, which is a singular form of sensilla. So which used to have an invertebrate hair or seta, which is said to be sensory organ on the epidermal cells, and the basic function of any sense organ in insect is used to receive stimuli from the environment, resulting in the nerve impulse and also used to pass them as the neuromuscular system in the insect body. So while seeing the types of sensilla, there is most of them are mainly derived from the CT, which is one of the hair cell we have already seen. So we can able to classify as trichoria sensilla, Cheetae sensilla, basiconia sensilla, coleconial sensilla, campiform sensilla, placoid sensilla, as well as scoporia sensilla. So they are said to be based on the structure used to be known as brittle-like process, hair or spine-like process, peg-like, which is said to be like sensillum, and sunken in shadow pit. So based on the names and the structure, their names are said to be given in the insect body. So I have given the small picture of sensilla on the body wall, so you can able to see it even in the lecture notes. So while seeing the different types of sense organ, you can able to see the most three common receptors which are important one in the insect body. They are said to be known as Mechanoreceptors, Chemoreceptors, as well as Photoreceptors. So you must need to remember these three one in each and every insects, and the other three are the extra sensory organs in insects are phono or auditory receptor, thermal receptor, as well as humidity receptors. So while seeing the first one, mechanoreceptors, which is used to detect the mechanical forces like touch in the insect body. So they are the trichord sensilla, campaniform sensilla, as well as chordotorgal sensilla, which is also known as chorophora sensilla, as well as dome sensilla in campaniform sensilla. So while seeing the first one, the trichoria sensilla, where they used to have a hair-like structure distributed all around the body, even in the antenna, cerci, as well as the trophy, which is the mouth parts of the insect. So these scents are usually sensitive to touch, which used to detect the touch from the environment by other organisms. So while seeing the form as well as the picture of trichoid sensilla, they used to be comprised of seta dendrites of sensory neurons, as well as cuticle epidermal cells and sensory neuron, and which is said to be surrounded by a tromogen cell as well as trichogen cells. We have already seen the body wall structure at where you can able to see the CT, and now we are going to see the different classification of CT, which is used to act as a sensory organ in the insect body. So first you have finished seeing the trichoid sensilla. After that we are going to see for campaniform sensilla, which is said to be also known as the dome sensilla. So these sensilla used to have a terminal end of the sensilla, which is used to be like a rod-like structure, as well as inserted into the dome-shaped cuticle in the insect body. These cells are sensitive to the pressure, as well as located in leg joints as well as the wing bases of the insect body. So you can able to see the structure in this picture, which is a campaniform sensilla, where you can able to see the cuticle as well as the dome-shaped cuticular membrane, as well as the dendrites of sensory membrane, and which is surrounded by a trichogen cell, which is the cell of the insect body, and which is even surrounded by a tomogen cell, which is as like as in the first one, and also comprised of sensory neuron as well as the neurolema. After that we are going to see about the chordotonal organ, which is also known as the scoloporous organ. So these are said to be known as the specialized sensilla of the insect body. They are also known as the scolophore as well as the scolopida, which used to contain a sensory body, or which is called as the scolophale. And the scolophale used to have an envelope cell, which is a cap cell enclosing with it the axial neighbor or fiber, which is said to be known as the cardotonal nerve. The sensory body or the scrophule, which develop from the envelope cell of the insect body. Their main function is said to be known as the proprioception, where the positioning of the body parts in relation to the gravity of the environment was the main function in the insect body. And these cells are used to be sensitive to sound waves as well as the vibration of substratum as well as the pressure changes according to the environment, are sensitive by the chromotonal organs of the insect body. So it is the structure of the chromotonal organ of the insect body. After that, we are going to see about the Johnston's organ, which is said to be a type of chordotonal organ. It is said to be present in all adult insects, and which is also found in many larvae, where they used to have a complex chordotonal organ, which is also called as the Johnston organ, which is in the second antennal segment, which is a pedicel of the insect body. They are used for detecting the air currents as well as the vibrations in the environment. In male and mosquitoes as well as midges, they are used for hearing different sounds from the environment. So it was the picture of Johnston's organ. So where you can able to see the presence of air as well as the base of flagellum, which is said to be joined with the basal plate and as well as pedicel of the Johnston's organ, and there is a presence of scape and nerve cells in the Johnston's organ. So you can able to see the Johnston organ is said to be comprised of the scolopida cells of outer ring and the inner ring as well as the single scolopida. So these are the cells which are mainly present in Johnston's organ. So after that, we are going to see about the chemoreceptors after finishing mechanoreceptors. So the chemoreceptors are to be used for detecting the chemicals which is used to be present in the environment, and also termed as the taste, or you can able to see it as smell or gustatory sense as well as the olfactory sense, and they used to respond stimuli based on the chemical stimuli present on the environment. So while seeing the difference between gustatory receptors as well as olfactory receptors, they used to form a uniporous chemoreceptors in gustatory receptor as well as the olfactory receptors, and mostly used for detecting chemicals of solid and liquid form, and olfactory is said to be in vapor form. The gustatory receptors are said to be activated when they used to be having contact, and olfactory is said to be observe the chemicals in the form of smell, and few sensory neurons are located in tropi as well as tarsi, and the sensory neurons are located in antenna as well as the palpi of the mouth part of the insect body. So these are the major difference between gustatory receptor as well as the olfactory receptors. So while seeing about the olfactory receptors, they are said to be sense the chemical in the vapor form by smell, which is said to be known as the olfactory receptors. And the olfactory receptors are trichoid, basinocoid, coiloconi as well as the placoid sensilla, or comes under olfactory receptors. So I have given the picture of the olfactory receptor in the insect body, and after that we are going to see about the gustatory receptors, which is used for sensing the taste of the particular chemical present in the environment. So these receptors are used for sensing the chemical substance by tasting through the gustatory receptors, which is done by the insect. So these receptors are said to be known as the trichoid sensilla, which are present in the tropi as well as tarsi of the insect body, and the photoreceptors, which are used for detecting light energy, which is said to be known as the compound eye. So these are said to be laterally placed on cephalic photoreceptors in the insect body, and each compound eye is used to be made up of individual units called omatidum, and each omatidum is said to be hexagonal area, which is said to be known as the facet, and the number of omatida varies in insects. Example 1 in ant, and as well as 28,000 in dragonfly are said to be present in the insects, and each omatidum consists of an outer light gathering, which is an optical lens, as well as an inner light perceiving a sensory part in the insect body. And the optical part used to be comprises of a cuticular lens, which is a cornea as like as in humans, as well as the transparent cone, which is a crystalline cone present in the insects. And the sensory part is said to be made up of retinal cells, as well as the central refraction rhabdome, which is line sensitive rod, which is present in the insect eyes. as well as the random consists of light sensitive pigments, which is said to be known as rhodopsin, and the optic part is externally covered by a primary iris as well as the pigment cells of the insect, and the sensory part is said to be covered by the secondary iris as well as the pigment cells of the insects. So you can able to see the pictures of insect eye where I have given the close observation of the insects. So after that you can able to see the structure of omatidum, where you can able to see the optical unit as well as the sensory unit which is present in the insects. And while seeing the types of omatidum, there is a apophysian type where the light cannot be passed through the cannot enter through the adjacent cells due to the presence of primary pigments in the omatidum, and the mosaic images are said to be very distinct in the insect omatida, as well as this type is seen in the diurnal insects in our environment, and the superposition type where the pigment cells are said to be absent and allow the light to pass between adjacent omatida, and images are formed in indistinct or blurred in these types of insects. So these type of omatidal cells are said to be present in nocturnal as well as the crepuscular insects. And another one we are going to see is the lateral oxali, which is said to be known as the stemata of the insects. So these are used for the visual organ of holometabolous larva, as well as the structure is said to be similar to that of omatidum but not as like as omatidum. So their number is varies in different insect species. So their main function is to detect forms, color, as well as scan the environment where they are present. And after that we are going to see about dorsal ocelli. So they are said to be a 3 in number, and they are said to be arranged in a triangular fashion in between the compound eyes, as well as the vertex. You can able to see it on the frontal region of the head of each and every insect, but they are said to be absent in cockroaches. While seeing the ocelli, they used to have a biconvex lens, which is beneath a transparent congenial layer is said to be made in this ocelli. So the congenial layer used to overlays the sensory element which constitute the retina of the ocelli in the insect body. A retina is said to be composed of visual cells as well as this sensory cells. So they are extend to the longitudinal optic nerve, which is said to be known as the rhabdonum. So they are used for the transfer of images from the environment to its brain, and the dorsal ocelli are used to precise the light intensity but not the image precipitation is made. So you can able to understand that the retina is used for the visualization of the light intensity between those images, but they cannot able to transfer the image precipitation to the brain. So they only transfer the light intensity to the brain. So now you can able to see the dorsal ocelli of the insect body. So you can able to describe it in these images. And after that we are going to see about the phonoreceptors, which is said to be known as the sound wave detecting units of the insect body. So they're said to be like ears for the insect. So the first type, which is said to be known as the delicate tactical hairs, which is present in the plumose antenna of male mosquito, and the tympanum is the second one. So these membranes are structured across the tympanic cavity, which is used to respond to sound as well as produce at some distance, which are transmitted by airborne vibrations of the insect body. So these tympanal membranes are said to be linked to the chordal organ to enhance the sound precipitation in the receptions of the insects. So the tympanal organs are said to be located between the metathoracic legs of mantids and the metathorax of many orchid moths, as well as the prothoracic legs of many orthopterans, and the abdomens of the short-horned grasshopper, which is said to be known as the cicada, as well as the wings of certain moths and lacewings. So it's where the tympanal organs are said to be located. And the fifth one, which is said to be known as the humidity receptors, where they use it to access the change in humidity as well as the water vapor in the environment. They are said to be present in the antenna of tribolium as well as the pediculus of headless. and after that we are going to see about the thermoreceptors, which are used for detecting heat in the insects. So they are said to be present in the pygilothermic insects, which are sensitive to the temperature changes in the environment. In bedbugs, it is useful to locate the host utilizing temperature gradient of the host. So I have given the lecture notes in description. If you have any doubt, please comment in the section or else join us in the Instagram. If you like the video, like it and share it with your friends, and subscribe to B.Sc.Agriculture and hit the bell icon to get regular updates. So thanks for watching the video. I'll catch you up in next videos.